Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of a nation that's usually defined by its towering empires, and we're going to reveal the hidden geological engine that literally powers its history. We're looking at Türkiye. But, not the way you usually see it in the travel brochures. We're going to look right underneath it. Because for thousands of years, entire civilizations have risen and fallen here. And today, we're exploring exactly why.
Okay, let's dive right in by shattering a pretty common illusion. When we think of this area, we usually picture the grand domes of Istanbul, right? Or maybe those stunning turquoise beaches on the Mediterranean. But if you only focus on the ruins and the coastlines, you completely miss the violent, unyielding earth that actually built this nation. The real story here lies in the tectonic fault lines that have silently but powerfully shaped human history here for 10 millennia.
Which brings us to part 1, the geological paradox, where this land is caught between worlds.
So to really get this, you have to understand that this land is literally a geological paradox. The Anatolian Plate acts as this incredible physical bridge, but it's totally trapped in a slow-motion, relentless collision. It's sitting right on the boundary of 3 massive tectonic plates, and it is actively being squeezed, kind of like a grape, between the Arabian, African, and Eurasian plates. The geography here doesn't negotiate. It pushes back with unbelievable force.
And what does that massive squeeze actually do? Well, it creates a staggering reality. 2 centimeters. That tectonic pressure acts exactly like a vice, forcing the entire Anatolian Plateau to move west by exactly 2 centimeters every single year. Now, I know 2 centimeters might sound microscopic, but geologically speaking, it's a massive constant pressure that sculpts mountains, rips open deep thermal veins, and literally shifts the ground beneath millions of people every single day.
Moving on to part 2, sculpting the surface, adapting to a volatile earth.
An absolutely perfect example of adapting to this volatile earth is Cappadocia. Millions of years ago, these ancient volcanic titans erupted, right? And they deposited this thick layer of incredibly soft volcanic ash, which is known as tuff. Over millennia, wind and water carved that soft ash into those bizarre, soaring spires we now call fairy chimneys. And then, human ingenuity stepped in. The violent geological past handed ancient peoples this perfect canvas of soft rock, and they brilliantly carved entirely functioning cave homes right into the cliffs. They literally transformed a geological byproduct into a thriving settlement.
And these weren't just primitive holes in the wall. They provided incredible natural insulation. These cave homes stayed brilliantly cool during the absolutely scorching heat of the Anatolian steppe summers, and then wonderfully warm during the freezing winters. So these were brilliant architectural solutions to a really harsh climate, and they were entirely dictated by the unique volcanic geology left behind by those tectonic forces.
And this really brilliantly illustrates the dual nature of this land. Because if we move further west, we hit a landscape that looks like a frozen waterfall made entirely of clouds, Pamukkale. Those beautiful white terraces? They aren't snow. They are pure calcium carbonate. You see, the exact same fault lines that cause catastrophic destruction also bleed these healing, mineral-rich thermal waters right up to the surface. And the ancient Romans realized the immense value of this. They built the luxury city of Hierapolis directly on top of it. They created an empire's retreat born purely from seismic activity.
So when we map these regions out, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. Whether it's carving survival homes into the soft volcanic ash of Cappadocia or building a Roman luxury city to harness the thermal springs of Pamukkale, there is a direct, undeniable link between this volatile earth and human progress. The geology here didn't just challenge these civilizations, it actually provided the very tools and resources they needed to advance.
Let's get into part 3, the continental choke point, bridging 2 worlds.
Here we are talking about the Bosphorus Strait. It's a remarkably narrow geological choke point that literally separates Europe from Asia. For centuries, this incredibly narrow waterway acted as a massive geological sieve for Silk Road cultures passing between the East and the West. And even today, it remains one of the busiest waterways on the entire planet. It serves as the absolute backbone of daily life and global trade for millions of people.
Now, right on the very edge of that strait sits Istanbul. Over 15 million people live in this incredible metropolis, and it sits directly on top of the North Anatolian Fault, which is a major subduction zone. Because of this, crossing from one continent to another takes just minutes. But surviving there long-term, that requires a profound systemic respect for the Earth's immense power. It demands continuous reinvention and advanced earthquake-resistant designs just to exist in such a fragile, dynamic location.
Which brings us to part 4, the deep hideaway, the ultimate human adaptation.
So, think about this for a second. When simply adapting on the surface wasn't enough to survive the brutal elements of the steppe or the marching armies of endless empires, where do the people go? When you can't run away and you can't build higher, what is your next move? Well, ancient humans pulled off an incredible vanishing act.
The answer is Derinku, and this isn't some myth. It is a fully engineered, vast underground system hidden completely beneath the dust of the Anatolian plains. When danger approached, thousands of people would simply disappear into the earth. They'd descend into this massive, heavily engineered subterranean world that the ground so willingly provided. It's just an absolute masterclass in utilizing geology for ultimate defense.
And exactly how deep did they go? A staggering 8 levels deep. We aren't talking about a shallow cellar here or a collection of simple basements. This was an astonishing feat of engineering, descending deep into the bedrock. It required a really intimate understanding of the Earth's structural integrity to carve out these immense caverns that wouldn't just collapse under their own weight.
The infrastructure they built down there is seriously fascinating. They carved advanced ventilation shafts stretching hundreds of feet just to ensure breathable air. They even had subterranean stables so their livestock could survive alongside them, and deep earth churches to maintain their community and worship while hiding out, sometimes for months at a time. These were fully functional, complex urban centers, and they proved that the ultimate adaptation was to literally embrace the protective rock of the tectonic plate itself.
I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly sums up our entire journey today. Turkey stands apart because it is a land where the mountains, the history, and the very plates of the earth are all working on their own terms. This entire explainer really highlights that this nation isn't just a random collection of historical sites on a map. It is a deeply connected, living system that is entirely shaped by its foundational role as a volatile tectonic bridge.
So, as we wrap up this journey into the Earth, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to chew on. What other ancient empires were secretly dictated by the ground beneath their feet? I mean, how many other great chapters of human history were actually authored by the hidden geological mechanics silently grinding away right below us? Think about that the next time you look at a history book. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time.